Okay, we're prepping the wood here, and I'm cutting it to 2 1/4 inches wide. It's already 7 inches, so it's going to be 7 by 2 1/4. And this is the 1/8 inch basswood. So you'll get it 7 inches long and 7 by 3, so you'll have to adjust this or cut this. And this is a carbon, 1/2 by 1/2 carbon. This is coming out pretty soon. It works the same if you build it with the wood, obviously. It would just be wood instead. Slide these on. You see how they're configured. They're a little bit different than the original. This is going to be the revised or revision 2. So when you glue them together, this is how you'll glue them together, like this, instead of like this. So do it this way if you want the original version. Glue them together this way if you want the revision or the revision 2 version. And what it's doing is bringing it down in thickness. Everything else is the same dimension. It's just bringing it down in thickness by about 1/2 inch, 13 millimeters, something like that. So what I did, I went ahead and measured about 3 1/8 here, 3 1/8 here, and you can adjust it a little bit. It might be a 1/16 or so to where you have, you know, your 2 1/4 from outside to outside. And of course this is going to go on the bottom and the top. The center part now is going to be a hair bit smaller, but we'll get to that in a minute. So what I like to do is go ahead and give myself a mark, you know, about where I want it this way. And then on this I'm going to go ahead, go ahead and put this flush. Let's see if I can get it flush here. You know, put this flush. And I'm going to put these screws in this section, you know, in the tab, as I call it, right in here. And then we'll put another one through here a little bit later, tying it into the carbon. So I'm going to go ahead and that's about 7/8 of an inch. And we'll go ahead and make it 7/8 of an inch. There we go. I'll just do it this way. And we'll do the same thing on this side. And I could have just marked one side and squared it. That's what we'll do on this one. Okay. And then it looks like we're coming in about not quite 3/8. So let's go ahead and make it 3/8. Or better yet, we'll make it 1/4. Let me just double check this and see. Let's make it 5/8. 5/16 instead. So we're going to come in 5/16. I think that'd be a little bit better. There we go. I'm just going to eyeball this across. You know, you can definitely measure it. Probably the smartest thing to do, but I'm going to do it like this. And where X marks the spot, we're going to go ahead and drill us a 1/8 inch hole. Sand this down a little bit. Okay. And then what we'll do is make sure it's flush this way here. And we'll make sure, you know, it's even on the sides. So we can do that. Here we're going to use a 1/16 inch bit. Well, you can always double check this, you know, by doing this number. And it's probably the best way to do it. I always like to go ahead and put the one screw in and then we'll work from there. And here we're going to be using 3/8 inch. Let me grab a few. Might be a little bit easier to do it this way. Let me see. Again, we'll make sure this is square there and we'll push that up. That's looking pretty good. We'll check square here in just a minute, but I feel pretty confident with that. Looks like it moved a little bit. There we go. This is where you have to, you know, take the most care, I guess, because it's, you know, pretty much the first one here is kind of, you know, what sets up the squareness of the whole quad. So take your time with it. And, you know, try to get it as good as possible. And like I said, you know, this is one part you don't want to get in a hurry. And then you can go like this and check square. See, that looks pretty good. And again, we'll check square here. And I'll just double check it there. And it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. I'll double check it here again. Looks good. I'm happy with that. And then we'll go ahead and check, make sure we're good there. And it's coming out to like 3 1/16 on this way and this way, but just double check that and make sure you're happy with that. That looks pretty good. Of course, at this point, you know, you can always move it, so and that's one reason why yeah, I'm kind of waiting so we can double check this after a while. We'll make sure it's square with these, and then we can move that and lock that in. A little bit different from how we've been doing it, and I'm finding that this works a little bit better. It gives you a few more options or chances to make sure that it's, you know, all in good shape. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do this one now. Let's get our that's about it. And whoop, a little bit. That's about it. And we'll double check this. 2 1/4 rather. So we'll do the same thing here again. Let's set this up and we'll push everything together there. And we'll get our 16th. And like I said, just take your time with this. After this part, this is the you know, the most crucial. Excuse me. We're going to push again here and make sure we're happy with it here on the side. You know, now's the time we can adjust it a little bit. I like that. Feels good. Again, the 16th inch bit. Now I'll put, excuse me, I'll put washers on this in just a minute. I actually forgot to put one, but we'll do that in a second. And that looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Looks good. I'll try it this way. good. Okay. You know, and another way you can check, and we'll do that later when we get the motor mounts on again, just to make sure we can go across like that. But it's checking out almost perfect at 10 3/4. Let me double check that. Yeah, really good, really good. Okay. Now, you know, we'll go ahead and prep the top plate, and we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to go ahead and just get us a mark here, and we'll get us a mark here. And what I'm doing is, you know, giving a mark on here, center here, and center this way. And again, it's approximate. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. And then let's go ahead and I'm just going to eyeball this again. You could just duplicate this measurement there. We're going to come up with templates for this pretty soon. You know, it's where you can just lay that on here and drill these holes out. And I'll get those out. You know, that's going to be coming pretty soon. And yet in the future is going to be, you know, all these pieces laser cut and everything will be done. It's a little bit ways off here. We're working on that now though. You know, the neat thing about, again, QuadLugs is that you're using parts here of what we use on our other lugs. It just goes to show that you can do, you know, a lot with these things. This is just, you know, the very beginning of this, meaning, you know, the more you mess with it, the more you find uses or ways to build with the parts, and that's the real cool thing. And we have some, you know, other items coming out. It just takes a while because, you know, we have to have the molds made, and by the time we get into production and double checking everything, for if we introduce new parts, it usually takes about 6 months from when we, you know, come up with a final part to go together to when you know, the molds get made and they go into production. It takes quite a while. So if you go through prototyping and then through the mold making and get ready for production, you know, you can have 9 months into this easy. So it takes a while, but we're moving all the time. We have quite a few new things coming up. Let me go ahead and cut this. See how that fits. Great. We'll do the 2 1/4. But I guess what I was getting at a little bit earlier when I said you can do so many things with this is, you know, I haven't done it yet, but I'd be curious to see what everybody comes up with. But this is 7 inches, you know, it's giving us our 250, but there's nothing to say that, you know, you can't stretch this out or make it bigger. I've made some of these quite a bit bigger, actually a 400 with these parts, and it does very well. So, you know, you can do all kind of things with it. That's pretty amazing. So you're not limited at all. So try things and let us know. So let's see. Good, good. That's fitting good. Now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to mark this here and there. And I'm going to do there. And again, marking the center here and this tab, you know, where I'm going to put it there. And let's go ahead and get this marked. Now when we, you know, put out the templates for this, which is coming fairly soon, it's going to make this so much easier, you know, because it's just, gotta make it faster, but you know, I kind of like measuring my stuff. But and then when we, you know, start doing these laser cut, then obviously it's gonna be very, very fast. You just take the part out and put it on. And what that'll do too, you can carry some extras, and you know, if you have a problem, you know, it's, believe it or not, it's pretty hard to tear these up. Going with carbon and the wood, and you know, I like the wood in this area here because this is where all your controls and everything are going. So you know, you have in your ESCs, you have a little less you know, thought of, you know, sharding something out because of the carbon, you know, being conductive. But and believe it or not, it becomes very strong like this. But if you ever would have a breakage, you know, you could carry some spare parts, and you know, you could actually change it out really quick. Now if you really want to toughen these up right here, a good way to do it is put some thin CA in all these holes after you drill them, before you screw this through, and it really toughens that up. I mean, super tough. So you have, you know, makes it even stronger. So, you know, that's a thought. Drill your holes, put some thin CA, let it soak in. You know, you can then put it together, take it back apart, paint it if you want to. That's how I normally do it. But just remember about the thin CA. With the wood, amazing how it strengthens it up. The only thing I'm doing here is making sure that, you know, it's side to side, we're in good shape. I'm going to put one screw in here. Then I'm not real happy the way this table here, as far as it being level. I'm going to move over to another table real quick where I normally build wings to my planes when I build them. And it's very, very level. And I'm going to go ahead and drill these three are here on a level table, just to make sure, you know, it's not skewed a little bit and the hole gets drilled and it comes out, you know, a little bit crooked. I'll be right back. Okay. Again, all I did was went to a table that I know is level, and it's, you know, smart thing to do. That way it's not, you know, there's no twist in it. And I didn't show that when I did that. I just set it on the table and drilled it. So I didn't want to have to, you know, being a little lazy, I didn't want to have to reset up the camera. But that's all I did. Now, I normally go ahead and screw all, you know, do all my drilling and screw everything together at this point. But if you didn't want to, you could, you know, stop right there and go ahead. And I'll take the top off. Let me back up a little bit. And now screw everything together. Now I take the top off. Then this is where I mount the ESCs. I've been putting using rather, a 4-in-1. And it fits right here. Perfect fit. Works really, really well. And, you know, run the wires here and out. And we'll do that again. We already have electronics set up on this that shows it, but I may go ahead and do it again. But the wires come through here and go out to the motors. And then if you want to, you can pull this off, you know, and put your controller in. I normally fit it in without taking that off. But the neat thing about this, you can just pop it all apart again, and it's very easy to put back together. Now I'm going to go ahead and level these, or make sure these on the edges are right, and this here and here is good. And it does, and I'm going to again do one and then do the others. Let me grab some more screws. And I'm going to go ahead and put the washers on this one in the right sequence. So how about that? There we go. And again, I'm using a 3/8 screw here. So on this one here, we're using 3/8 screws on everything. And that all comes with the kit. So and I just want to make sure this is level again. That looks good, and that looks good. And let me get my 1/8 inch bit. And if, when we're done, if the wood is not completely flush with the plastic, you can file it down or sand it down. It sands pretty easy. Oop. And you know, that way you get a good flush mount, or get it flush, because if you remember, we have these pieces that are going to be glued on, you know, so you want a good nice fit on there. Now those pieces there are being 3D printed right now, because remember I was telling you about the prototyping and, you know, getting the molds made. We're in that process with these right now, and so until that's finished up, we'll continue to 3D print them. So that'll be changing and going to the production parts as soon as that time comes. But these are holding up really, really well. I mean, you may have seen some of the videos, and especially in, what is it, flipping purple, when I smashed it into the ground pretty hard. And everything held up really, really well. So, but that'll be changing and go to the ABS plastic once that's finished, as well as the control holder and the receiver pad. That's also being 3D printed now, and we're working on that mold also. Okay. you are. Very, very nice. And like I said, I'm going to sand this down a little bit and make that look pretty. Or flush. And it's real close now. And then this is going to glue on like that. And we'll get to that in just a minute. So there we are. Let me grab some motor mounts. Now there's, and I'm going to put these flush. I'm not going to normally put the screw in through the bottom. And I'm not going to do that right now because I always like to make sure, the props and everything are fitting well before I do it. Now you can also, use CA glue on this. Crazy, crazy. Works very, very well. Or, crazy tough. It works. Between the plastic and the carbon. The only problem with that, you can't really change them afterwards. You have to buy some extras if you do that. But we'll be putting a screw in here and that'll lock it in. And we'll also be doing that same thing here. And that'll be locking all that together. So, and we'll do that on the next video whenever we do the electronics on it. We'll do that. So I'm going to take a few seconds and sand this down. And we'll put these front pieces on. Okay. Now what we'll do, and you can determine, which is the front and which is the back at this point. It really doesn't matter, does it? Let me get the top off of this glue. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and put some right here. You have to be careful when you do this, obviously, is not to get it onto the wood and the plastic, because it's there forever, and not for it to drip into there. The carbon it's there forever. I'm just going to make sure that I'm getting good coverage. There we go. So you have to be careful of that. And I'm using what is this? Gap filling CA. And I normally hold it flush here and flush here. And you know, line it up here with the edge. Now these are being made right now smaller than the pieces here, the body support lugs that we're using. And the reason I'm doing that is because a camera can fit in here, and we just made, you know, make a little bit of an adjustment on the, take a little bit of material out here and here, and the camera fits perfect in there, the Fat Shark 600 TVL. And yeah, perfect fit. We may widen it up when we go into production, and they're just now getting ready to start making the molds, and we may go ahead and pull it out just a hair bit so we have this inner but flush on the outside. So that may be a change that we do in the future, but this works really good. And what I'm doing, I'm pressing down and keeping that for a little bit, and it starts setting up. I'm going to do the same thing here. Just, again, be careful. You know, you'll know if you get to wood if you try to take it off. It won't come off. But, I mean, you can peel away from the plastic and, you know, cut another piece of wood. You can definitely do that. So it's not like it's a, you know, lost cause. And, you know, these parts are very reasonable, so if you ever had to replace even the plastic, you know, no big deal. And we're going to eyeball this again and, you know, try to get the same as this one, and get it kind of straight up and down, hold it flush here and here, and kind of push on it to set it. And I think that looks good. And again, I'm pushing down. And this is set up in low line. I'm telling you, it's tough. And it, you know, it protects the camera if you use, unfortunately the board cameras don't fit in here. I haven't got them to fit on this. You could, you know, make this wider, obviously, and increase these pieces, and get it to fit. But I tell you what, the 600 TVL, the Fat Shark camera, fits perfect. So could always do some, as I say, hacking to it and make the others work, but that works perfect. And with these camera guards, as I call them, it's the lens is inside of it, just a hair bit. It's perfect, works perfect. So I'm going to set this over here, or let's do this. Well, maybe I won't. I'm going to set it where it's standing kind of straight, to let it go ahead and dry. Now the back part, I'll have those ready in a little bit, and we'll throw them on there. And we'll be close to finishing the frame build. This one here is going to be going to Joe Nile, and we'll be there next week, and we'll be showing off all of our quads and tries. So let me get the back pieces ready, and we'll get them put on. Okay, we have the back ones ready, and they're going to fit like that. So let me go ahead and I went ahead and put the washers on while I was gone, or while we were off camera, and well, we'll go. So we're going to again go ahead and put the gap filling CA, and go ahead and put that one on. And if you notice from the others, the other one, or the original version, which is all the dimensions are the same except for the height. You know, this one is like like I was saying, about a ½ inch smaller, or not as tall, or you know, about 13 millimeters or so. So again, we're going to make sure this is flush here. We'll even that up here between this way here. But if you notice that we had a transmitter that was fitting right in here for FPV flight. Now, it's not a very powerful one, but I'm still working with it to see, you know, what kind of range it has. I haven't, weather permitting and time, I haven't had a whole lot of flying it, but so far it's been doing pretty good. Again, we're going to put some more CA here. And you may just want to be careful so it doesn't get to the CA. So I may turn it a little bit because it's kind of going that way, but it'll dry here pretty soon. It will be in good shape. But this all looks pretty good right here. And we're going to kind of let that sit. And I'm going to kind of hold it and watch, make sure it doesn't get to the carbon right in here. So in just a second here, it'll be dried enough so I can stand it up. So that pretty much completes the build. We have the back bumpers on, and we have the front camera protectors on, and that adds, you know, again, another layer of strength when you put those on. This thing is pretty tough. I'll be real honest with you, and I'm just taking a look at that to make sure I'm not getting a little ahead of myself, and it looks okay. But that completes the build and of the frame, and next we'll be doing electronics on it. And when we do that, we'll of course put the Velcro here, and that's where I normally put the battery and everything, and we'll put the ESC, the 4-in-1. And you know, if you're not using a 4-in-1, when you pull this off, you have plenty of room. And I have done a couple of them like that with separate ESCs and a hooking up the power, or having the power distribution in the middle underneath this plate, and the ESC is sandwiched in there. No problem, it works well. And then it keeps the arms, you know, kind of clean. And of course the controller I'm putting on the very bottom. So next we'll see you on doing the electronics. We already have some videos on a product page out on that, but we'll do another one with this one. This is the revision, or version 2 rather, of the 250 Mini, and that'll be going up on the site real quick. And this is also going to be our first kit using the carbon, half-by-half carbon in lieu of the wood. So you'll be able to get this version 2 with the wood, or right after that, the version 2 with the carbon. And of course the original version with the carbon also. So we'll get that up on the site pretty soon. And as always, this is Danny with QuadLugs, and we'll see you real soon. Oh, and don't forget, we're going to be up at Joe Nile next weekend. And we look forward to seeing you there. And we'll see you soon. Take care.